What's going on, everybody? Squad's on the road checking out our great clients, but you know I couldn't have gone another week without giving you your sports sponsorship tip of the week. So for this week, as we really drive into things, we've been talking a lot about digital, but just with talking with partners and teams, one thing that's really coming up as vital for our sponsors, and that's database. With the retargeting tools, Facebook ads, retargeting just with emails, and doing email drip campaigns, the database that you have at your sports teams is massively valuable. So a couple of things here as we look at for sponsorship. The first thing is be very careful with your database. What you want to do is you don't want to give it away and have a sponsor spam anybody or send out multiple messages. You also want to make sure with your fans that you're making sure that they know, hey, we're going to be sharing this with partners, whether that's opt-ins, whether that's rules and regulations. Make sure you're extremely transparent with your partners, with your fans, and with your partners about how they should be using your database, because that's really important on that end. So make sure you have those in place, but there's powerful things we can do within sponsorship, and actually we can increase our sponsorship packages and the sizings based on what we can do with that database. So let's give you an example. We do a scratch and win, fans scratch win, and they're earning prizes, right? So there's a few pieces of just that database that we have access to. The first is everybody who played, whether they played and won or played and lost. We know everybody has connected with that brand and seen that brand messaging. That's extremely powerful for the database that you're building on that end. The second piece of that, though, is we can even segment, and we've talked about this on the sponsorship tip of the week as well for segmentation. We can segment it down even further. We can basically say, hey, I know everybody who's played and I know everybody who has won a prize. I know they have a coupon in their possession. And we can segment out that data. What you do with that data is extremely important afterwards. A lot of teams and a lot of sponsors will ask for that data and just put it into their marketing machine. I'd caution you to hold back a little bit, really dive down with your sponsor and make a more segmented message. Nothing's worse than when a fan plays an activation and then starts just getting spammed with messaging that has nothing to do with the team, has no affinity for that, and they're just getting coupons. The better way, and what we've seen with a lot of teams we work with, is you take that segmentation, you know people have won that prize, you build out a retargeting campaign that you can add into your packages and actually make more revenue because it's more valuable for the sponsor. You take that, you then go retarget them, whether again on Facebook ads, whether on email, with co-branded content, meaning it's the sponsor and it's your team, and you retarget with a message based on that segment. You could even send the losing people messages that says, hey, I noticed you played Scratchers last week. We're sorry that you lost, but here's a quick offer from a sponsor. Or even the winners. Hey, we noticed that you played Scratch and Win. Congrats on winning. Here's another opportunity to engage with our brand, right? If you're just gonna have the sponsor send messaging and not have it segmented, you're not gonna see a lot of open rates. And we've actually seen this with some of the partners and teams that we work with. You really wanna make sure that as that fan goes through the journey of connecting with the brand, they have specific understanding and context for why they are. So as they play Scratchers, you're earning that data and giving them a prize. You then segment that data, and then you're able to retarget and go back out on that database. So make sure when you're using database within your packages that you're thinking about segmenting and how you can build a better, more authentic connection with those fans as opposed to just handing out those emails. Make sure you're being very careful about how you're collecting and how you're letting fans know that there's going to be more messaging coming up. And then the third thing is our activations collect that database, but you guys have a large database, whether it's through Facebook users that you then can have them sort of retarget on that end to make an audience. You have ticketing information. We've talked about segmenting it based on their address to make sure you're giving them a better offer from the sponsor that's more relevant to them. But understand the power you have in your databases. Again, be very careful with how you retarget, but be very smart on how you segment that. And you can even bring more and more value to your sponsors with that database than you could if you just gave it and gave those emails away to them and allowed them to just put it into their marketing machine. So that's the tip of the week. Look at your database, understand it's powerful. Make make sure you're doing the right things with your data. But on the third side of that, you can actually sell more sponsorship by adding targeted retargeting pieces and segmented retargeting pieces to your packages, and then sending that out and building more value, driving more revenue, and making some of your other packages and your other, in-stadium signage even more powerful, because that's all feeding in to that piece. That's your sports sponsorship tip of the week. Remember, keep pushing those limits within sports sponsorship. Fire.